We all know the parable of the Good Samaritan from the Gospel of Luke, but a new archaeological find right in the heart of Israel is revealing stunning details about the very real ancient Samaritan people. Well, Israeli tour guide Yoav Rotem joins us now. So, Yoav, before we get into exactly what was found, who are the Samaritan people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just actually came back from Samaria today for a whole day in the region, being actually in the holy site of Samaritans on top of Mount Gerizim. These are people that until today they see themselves as part of or the remains of Israel, the northern kingdom that was exiled by the Assyrians in 722. Um, and they believe they are the descendants of the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. They believe in the five books of Moses and the book of Joshua and a long tradition of priesthood that was passed until today. They believe that the blessed mountain, as we believe as Mount Moriah and the Temple Mount, they believe it in Mount Gerizim, which we know as the Mount of Blessing, which is, opposite to Mount of Cursing, Mount Eval. So these are they have a small community as in Upper Nablus today. Uh,
To this day, they're
to this
still
day,
around.
and in Israel, in the city Holon, they have some small communities. To this day, they keep some of the holidays, some traditions that looks Jewish, not exactly. Their writing is very similar to ancient Jewish writing. Some research shows that they are a population that came into the area of Samaria right after the exile. Whether it's some of these Israelites that were exiled, some people that came back after, some other tribes, some other people, and bond into a tradition.
Well, maybe that's a question we can get into. Why the the beef between the Jewish people and Samaria and Samaritans for thousands of years. But let's get right into it, buddy. What is this archaeological discovery all about?
So it's basically a very fancy big estate that was found next to the town Kafar Qasem in the right in the meeting between the coastal plain of Israel and the hill country of Ephraim of Samaria, and they found there beautiful mosaics from everything is from later than the first century, actually from the Byzantine time, the time when already the land is mostly Christian. Churches are all over, but we know from that area that the Samaritans, who actually been mostly in the hill country, moved more towards the west and took over actually on a very important, crucial point in the land, which is the crossing point along the Via Maris, next to what we call today Rosh Ain, Antipatris. Antipatris, Herod built a city over there, and we know Paul being taken through there on his way to be judged by Felix in Caesarea from Jerusalem. So that area was a super important one. What the estate is something that is showing us. I mean, if people will see the pictures and the videos coming out of there, it was a very fancy, schmancy place, as I like to say, very rich with findings. There's this whole thing looks like descending a little bit towards the 5th and 6th century AD, and it becomes more of a farm manufacturing olive oil, which was the main product of this area, and some other agricultural elements. Maybe after an uprising of the Samaritans against the Byzantine regime.
So, what did we learn from this find? Anything noteworthy?
First of all, it fits to the known history. Second, it joins and strengthening what we knew. There's a set of, I saw some of it today, some strongholds actually of Samaritans holding that spot right above Tel Aviv of today, a bit to the east. Again, it's a mandatory cross along the road because all the area of the coastal plain was full of swamps over there. And right there, actually, there's an area that you can move from north to south, south to north. So the Samaritans controlled it, but their descending is something that was known because they uprised against the Byzantine. But It also joins other things that are connected. They found even mikvaot, ritual immersion bath, that they Samaritans used to use before they used to make this pure olive oil that they were using maybe for their holy site in Samaria. Um, so yeah, it joins many other things.
So, taking this discovery and taking obviously your day today in Samaria, taking the Gospels and taking history, why was there such animosity between the Jewish people and the Samaritan people during the time of Jesus?
Wow, that's a whole seminar. But generally, um, I will say there's kind of like almost relatives that becomes competitors. Obviously the same. There's a background. The Jews were stronger in a certain point, especially in the first century. Definitely Herod, who is considered to be a Jewish king, controlling the area, but the Samaritans controlling the hill country, which is basically the until today, the Jews looking towards that and bringing politics to today, talking about what's called the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, and all if people watching the news, the idea of annexing or joining, putting sovereignty of Israel over there. This is the heartland of. You started the story of the Samaritan woman, the heartland of Jacob and Abraham, actually right in there. I mean, the holy site Gerizim for the Samaritans is right above Nablus, the city of Shechem. Did you know that this is the place? Few things happened. First of all, the nation of Israel was created in the book of Joshua, chapter 4 and 24. If we talk about the blessing and cursing, and God is saying, and you became a nation over there, Am Israel Ha, you know the term.
Hmm.
The first time when it became an but it's also the place that Abraham, the first Jew, is settled in the land. When he comes into the land, he settles around Shechem, around Shechem, and this is the first blessing that God is telling him, that he's going to inherit the land, and him and his descendants. So this area is super important for the Jews, but they don't control it also in the first century.
So, not to make any political statements, but that adds to the complexity of everything. If you think about Samaria, Shechem, what you've mentioned, I've personally been to, Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant once stood, Bethel, all in Samaria. You go down to Judea, Bethlehem, where David was born, Hebron, where the patriarchs are currently buried. Outside Bethlehem, also in the quote unquote West Bank, where Rachel is buried, Jericho, West Bank. So it makes you at least understand the complexities of what is quote unquote the West Bank, Judea, and Samaria. It's all on top of each other, thousands of years of Jewish
Yeah.
history compiled on top of each other. So, not a political statement, just a statement of history that this is what adds to the complexity of it. Yoav, I know it's extremely late in Israel. I will give you the last word, my friend.
First of all, at least in the first century, Judea was Jewish, and only Samaria was kind of like you talked about the competing. I would just say the finding is beautiful. I hope that the archaeologists will find a way to preserve it, and this is kind of an amazing thing that happens in Israel. We find things that are so beautiful. Some of them are super significant to the Bible, but they found it while they were trying to build a new neighborhood. So what do you do with it? I know they will try to preserve it, and I hope they will. And when people will come, they will be able to see this richness of this land and the connections that we can make to the Bible and to the reality of the Bible. That's amazing.
Yoav, toda raba, achi.